Looking back to last week's game, I thought we did some good things. I appreciate winning. Our team does. We haven't had enough of them lately, so we'll take it. I thought we really started fast. That was good to see. I believe defensively we started with having them punt the first 4 possessions and offensively scoring 2 was a good start. Obviously, we need to finish better. We need to finish the games, finish some drives, and we can't be leaving points out there as we step up the competition here in the SEC. Looking forward to going down to Florida. It'll be a great challenge. Well-coached, good football team. We all know we're in for a higher level of competition, and we're excited about that. The players will be excited, coaches. So we'll see where we're at here this week.
Hey, Coach, Florida had a weird situation where they didn't get to play their first game.
Yeah.
Have you ever been a part of something like that?
No.
And do you think that sets them back, or what?
No. I have been a part of a situation where you go up there, all the hoopla leading up to the first game of the year, put the ball on the tee, line up for a kickoff, and we get the weather delay. So that happened to me once at Arizona, which was very strange. But we were at home, went inside for about an hour, and then started up. So.
Mark,
yeah.
What impresses you the most about Florida?
Just a typical Florida team, physical with a bunch of athletes out there, very fast, very well coached. They're very aggressive defensively. So, and they're much improved offensively. Obviously, they racked up a whole boatload of points and yards.
Mark, what sense do you have right now of Blue and Bird?
We'll see day to day right now. I don't feel great about Blue. No.
You have Cole listed #1 on the depth chart, I guess, at guard again. Is that just because he started last game, or are you worried about Western?
I'm worried about Zach. I told you last week that it happened late in the week. He's got a strange issue. He's got some fluid. Anytime you thought it might be, maybe slept on it wrong or something that caused some little bit of nerve damage. He's bothered by that. There's some fluid around it. So he will not be cleared to play until he gets full range and full strength. They have no idea when that'll be.
It's in his neck.
Yeah. Could be a couple days, a week, a month. I have no clue.
Then who's Mosier's back after
Yeah.
that?
We'll look at several options in there. Mix some guys around this week. We'll see.
How did you think the line played Saturday?
They did some good things. Darian probably graded out the best. He really it was good to get him back. He played well. A couple of the young guys, went in there and things were moving fast. They were blitzing and changing things up. And some of the younger guys, Kyle Meadows in particular, struggled a little bit, and that's just from a lack of experience. So we got to continue to work him in there more.
Coach, on the other side of the line, did a good job putting pressure on the quarterback, but he seemed to squirm away. A lot of times he didn't get to finish. Is that a big part of that tough to simulate for those guys in practice?
It is. That's part of it, and we just need to be more disciplined as a whole defense. Because it was one person, and then it would be a different person on a different blitz or different pressure. And guys had good intentions. They wanted to retrace and not go too far past the quarterback, but he was always spinning out the same way. So we just got to do a better job of communicating that to everybody, whoever was on the us, whoever was the contained rusher.
Well, I'll be with you back and looked at the film. Did you have any message from Patrick about how many of those runs he should have hung in there and thrown it?
Well, I think. I don't think we really want to be in the business of going down into the swamp and running them 22 times. I'm not sure that'll be a good idea. So, we'll talk to him a little bit about some of the reads and some of the design. We will. He can run and he will run, but I don't think any of us are looking for that many every week.
With your offensive line issues, was the blitz pickup, was that offensive line issues? Was that running back? Was that...
It's a combination of things. One of them was a screen, so it just Patrick's got to get back and get rid of the football. Yeah, on one of them. So they did a nice job. We'll get it fixed. I mean, there's a few breakdowns here and there, and some of that's on Patrick.
Do you think he had sort of a run-first mentality throughout that game?
I thought he made some good decisions. and that helped us at times. And then maybe, he's got to learn to go through his progressions more as well. So he did come off of it, off his progressions a few times a little early, which he had not done.
Mark, you coached in that stadium. What are your concerns about going down there with a team that has so many first-year players?
Well, just that. I mean, we have some inexperience, but it is what it is. It'll be a real challenge. I think it's a great venue. Obviously, one of the best venues in college football, which you'll probably hear me say that every road game in the SEC. but it's a great place. It's a great atmosphere, very passionate fan base, and it'll be a real challenge. It's certainly not easy, and it'll be really good for us to see where we're at. I know the coaches are excited. The players are anxious for this great challenge. So we'll see where we're at.
What's going on with Austin McGinnis on the right hash?
Yeah, he rushed. Like I said, he rushed one of them. He rushed, and the other one he felt like he hit good. He needs to take into consideration the wind.
There's no mechanical issue?
Well, there was a mechanical on the first one. From what I know of being an expert on coaching kicking, but he definitely rushed that. Yeah, so.
How well do you know Will Muschamp?
You got to be a head coach for like 10 years to be an expert on kicking. Automatically become an expert after a few years. So, yeah.
How well do you know Will Muschamp? Do you guys have any sort of...
Yeah, I know Will well. I have a lot of respect for Will. Great defensive coach, great head coach, and they're going to have a good year. I know that. He's got a, like I said, I just like him, like the way he coaches. I have a lot of respect for him and the program. So.
What is a typical Will Muschamp game?
Yeah, well, I think what you see is what you get. He's a tough guy, defensive-minded guy, and they're going to play with that great passion. Which how can you not love that and appreciate that? Like I said, I think they're much different offensively this year, and they got some weapons and they got some real speed outside in a great scheme. So, I think they're much improved offensively.
The history of the series has not been very kind to you guys. Do you use it as motivation for your team, or do you?
I really don't think we need that motivation. If it does to some individual players, that's fine. I'll let them read that, but it's not something I want to put in front of them. We're pretty motivated to get out there and play well and to try to get a win.
How different are they offensively? What did they show scheme-wise in the first game?
Yeah.
They probably didn't show a whole lot in that first game scheme-wise.
Well, of course.
How did they look different?
Of course they do. They're going to do what they do to some extent. They're always going to implement new things each week and I'm sure add things as they go along. But you could see who they are and what their identity is, and they're very multiple. You'll see some things schematically, like we saw a week ago, in that they could go with 4 wide receiver looks and return the tight end and get in the a 2-back run game or 1-back run game, and they just put a lot of stress on you. They spread the ball out. They have very good athletes. They can be physical when they want to, and their backs are very good. They're very deep and very good at running back. So, that's the basics of it. But they want to spread you out and then be physical when they want to be.
How much from last year's game tape will you look? I mean, you guys kind of hung in there with them for a little bit.
Offensive, from a defensive perspective, not too much. Certainly our offense. We'll look at them defensively. They're still, they are who they are, and there's decent carryover for what we do defensively to what they do. So, our offense saw a good dose, at least a portion of that package throughout camp and throughout the summer. That's all right.
JoJo camp out, he's playing a little bit about him with that Wildcat package.
Yeah, it's just a way for us to try to improve some of our short yardage situations and just a little change up. And so JoJo had some of his better runs out of that package the other day. He was good and patient and hit it when he saw the opening.
Mark, what's your analysis of Za'Darius so far this year?
Yeah, Zadarius, he did some very good things Saturday, along with Bud. Statistically, Bud, showed up on the radar, which everybody was wondering where he was at, but he played good in the first game as well. And Z's doing some very good things. I think Z gets, frustrated. He wants to go out there and make a bunch of sacks and cause fumbles and do all those good things, but he plays hard. Again, I think he gets, a little over-anxious at times and, with some contain and a few things this past week. But he's a good physical guy. He's playing well, and the plays will come.
Do you notice a difference in his play between 3-4 and 4-3?
Well, there will be some difference in there, sure. On the stat line, it'll be a little different.
Now that you guys have had a lot of time to look at it, what were the changes after those first two offensive drives? What went wrong or what went right?
Well, I want to say the first 8 possessions of the game, when the game was in question, after the rain came and it was sloppy and we were really trying to milk some clock and get the victory and get out of there. The first 8 possessions, we scored on the first 2, and the next 2 we punt, and then we drive every one of the next ones. The next 4 there, we drive for points. We've got to get it cleaned up. There's no mystery. You can't give first and goal on the 2 and get nothing. So that we got to get fixed, and we will, and we'll work on that, and we got to come away with some kind of points there. And then the other ones, we had some opportunities. So as I said at the beginning, we cannot leave those kind of points out there. Certainly the missed field goals we got to get fixed, a drop touchdown, and then you have it first and goal on the 2 and get nothing. So I thought we moved the ball very well. I thought they did a nice job of putting together some long drives. I want to say, I don't remember exactly, but at least 4 drives over 10 plays, which is good.
What do you like to dislike about your run game right now?
Well, it's a little bit hit and miss, as you could see. Sometimes we're getting some very big plays, and sometimes we're getting too many negative yardage plays. And so, but we've got to continue to work. I think when teams were moving on us, we got to do a better job when they're pressuring us and things.
As a defensive guy, as a physical type of coach,
Mhm.
how do you like Dorian Baker going and playing?
Yeah.
I think he said peeling guys back.
Well, I love his aggressiveness. I don't like his choice of words sometimes. You really have to be careful. What my point to him is, don't get caught in a situation where they're going to get you a targeting foul right there. So that's something that he could be out for a full game. So we don't ever want to go after somebody's head. We want to be physical, but he's got to be careful not to get a target, because all he does is hurt his team. With that.
Give you a little bit of swagger, though. I mean.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I love his attitude now, both of them. And Dorian, he plays physical all day, every day. And we're starting to get that mentality on the perimeter offensively of being nasty and being tough. And one of the hallmarks of Neal's offense, while he was at Tech, and Tommy Maynard, the receiver coach, that's one of the reasons why he's here, because when you put on Texas Tech film before they got here, they were nasty.
You gotta beat it, you have to have that from your receivers blocking.
Yeah, we do, with what we do, yeah, absolutely. But, they do play that way, and Blake, as he gets more physical, he'll be more and more confident that way. But Dorian, whether he's catching the ball, turning it upfield, or blocking, he loves to play physical and get after people. So I'm excited to see that as he grows.
Mark, has Josh Forrest played better than you expected, just about like what you expected?
Yeah, I've liked Josh all along. I felt like he had the talent to be a good football player. As I said, during camp, and the pass responsibilities come very natural to him. And he's long and rangy, and he can run. Being more physical, he's getting more and more physical. So that's helping.
In 2 weeks, how do you feel about the development of that defensive tackle group?
I feel like they're doing some good things. I really do. Mike really played well this past week, and Melvin's been doing some nice things. Matt's coming along. So, overall, we're getting better and better.
Coach, no matter what anybody can say about the competition, this is the first time in 26 years that a team has been shut out in the first half 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
It says a lot about your defense.
Well, we're happy about that, because we just always trying to improve and just trying to play well. Like I said, I thought in the first game, even though there was areas where we know we needed to improve, we still did some very good things that we had to take away from that. And the same thing with this past game. I think we were more consistent, obviously, in this last game and hardened up that run game, and put them in some longer yardage situations.
Where are you guys better? On third down last year, offense and defense, you guys were 100th or worse on both sides. Right now you're in the, I think, top 30. You've been pretty good.
Yeah.
What's changed
Well,
on both sides?
the competition's going to get harder. We need to continue to improve in that area, but we're better, and that's showing in that area. And those are obviously very critical downs that we need to improve on. It has been nice to see offensively we're converting some longer yardage third downs as well, which is good to see. I just think that's just a credit to us improving, better at receiver, better at quarterback, and line's giving us some protection. So overall, just improving.
Coach, you've said all along throughout this rebuilding process that you're not going to measure success by wins or losses. Do you feel this one's different? Do you feel like success will be winning this game?
Well, I think it's no mystery that it's important to win some games and to compete at a high level in the SEC. I mean, that's that's what we're trying to do, and we're not going to back away from that. So I've never said that it wasn't important to win. We all know that ultimately, I'll either be sitting here or I won't. If you have enough wins, down the road. So you gotta eventually win some ball games.
A couple players mentioned that you showed them the movie Secretariat.
Yeah.
What was the goal with doing that sort of as a group?
Well, I think for one thing, to identify with Kentucky, to identify with the colors that we wear on our uniforms, and the fact that some of that was patterned after Secretariat. So I think the players really appreciated that. They really enjoyed the movie, and it was just a break during camp, just one of those nights where you just want to get them to decompress and relax a little bit. So.
Mark, I was expecting the offense more passes to running backs out of the back. Was this something you needed at this point? Or?
Yeah, and there was some there this past week that they chose to go another direction, but there's some options there that we'll eventually have to hit.
What sort of problems does Driscoll present?
He's a good football player, and he's got some good weapons with a good system. So he can run it and he could throw it. So they obviously went, they exploded in that first game, and they have some playmakers.
Mark, you talked Saturday about the danger of a team like Ohio. Don't let them hang around on your
Mm-hmm.
You look kind of a reverse role this week in Gainesville, the longer you guys can hang around.
Well, I don't know if we ever really go into it taking that effect, but I think it'd be very challenging to jump out in front of them like we did the first two, So, but that's what we're going to try to do, So.
How important is this game to see maybe just how far you guys have really gone?
I think it is. I think I'm anxious. I want to have a great week of preparation by our coaches and our players, and I want us just as excited to go down there and play as we were in the first two games at home, and I think it'll be interesting to see how our young players respond and how they go play. It's a measuring stick for us.
Mark, you referred to their changes in offense. In general, how different are they?
They're different. They're different. I mean, however you want to say it. I mean, sometimes they may line up the same way, but scheme-wise, they're different. I mean, there's probably some plays that they still run that they ran a year ago, but overall, when you put it all together and how they're calling plays and what they're doing, it's different.
Mark, their defense was really good last year. Is it just as good this year? What kind of jumps?
Yeah. Very good defensively. A bunch of guys I'm familiar with and have watched, come up through the high school ranks, and I know their mentality and how they play. They're very tough. They're very aggressive. Vernon Hargraves on the corners, exceptional. Dante Fowler, impact defensive end. So they got some good guys, and a great scheme. They're well coached.
Coach, how do you balance a game plan when you have a power back like Jones in the middle, but you also have that kind of speed on the outside, the wide receiver?
Well, it's just, that's always what stresses a defensive coordinator. Every you always, the best offenses are the ones that are balanced, and that make you play with numbers and then hurt you outside. So that's what they do. So.
How much more or less is the relationship with you and DJ? How much more is he fully in charge out there?
DJ Durkin or DJ Elliott?
You know.
DJ Durkin's from Youngstown too, He's a Youngstown guy. So, no, DJ does a great job. He's the defense coordinator. He day to day works out all the details. Of course, I'm heavily involved. I was a little late getting over here because I couldn't get out of there for the defensive meeting. But I'm very much involved. But he's doing a very good job of organizing it all.
When you're watching practice, I'm curious, do you ever have to remind yourself, hey, I'm the head coach, like I have more than just the defense to worry about? Does that ever happen?
No, I've just stayed over there on defense. You know what I mean? So I just, I got my hands full over there. So, you got to go where you can help. There's things that Neil's great, and I do my best to let him do his job, because I can get over there and start having my mentality, and tweak things, and I don't want there to be any reason for failure, and because he understands me. He knows when we need a rest on defense, when you need to slow things down, get some first downs, and he also, understands that when I get frustrated, we'll get those things corrected, so. When we get the ball first and goal on the 2, we're gonna darn sure try to run it in there, first down. So, so.
Who is your backup quarterback?
Reese's, because again, I said this a while ago. If something happened where Patrick was going to be out for a long period of time, then we would address the situation. If we can redshirt Drew, then that's what we're going to do.
How's Drew handling?
Drew's been good. He's been good. He's still, right in there with all the game planning, and he's been involved and he's been engaged. So, and he still gets some reps. So it's been good.
Who's running the scout team?
He'll come over there a little bit once in a while and do that for us, and just so he could throw more footballs as well.
Does the fact that he wears a jersey on game day does that mean that he's not officially going to redshirt, or how does?
Well, like I said, I don't know what the future holds. As far as injuries and things like that. So if we can redshirt him, we will.
You got several Florida boys on this team. Are they kind of starting to chatter a little bit about maybe getting some extra looks as far as offensively, Javis, JoJo, et cetera?
Well, I haven't heard much yet from him, but I'm sure I will throughout this week, especially JoJo. I'm sure I'll hear him when he walks in the door. But no, they'll be excited to play. But, Javis is just frustrated. He wants to be healthy. He wants to be out there. So.
You said in the past that you would rather try to calm people down than ramp them up for a game. Do you feel like, kind of like the first game, going on the road, this game, a lot of young guys, new guys, Florida guys will be really ramped up for this game?
I would assume so. I hope so. I hope they're excited to play. I would imagine they will be. That's been our identity all year. But I'm probably more interested in how we approach the week than how we are right before the game.
Is there any update with Montgomery? Are you expecting he might be back this year?
Pardon me?
Is there any update with Montgomery? Are you expecting he might be back, or do you think not?
I do expect him back this year. Not this week.
So what's going on with Burdett? I noticed he had really big sunglasses on at the game the other day. Is there...
Well, he had to get clearance for me to wear sunglasses on the sideline. So, but he's got the eye issue, and really there's some things that we're still working out with the leg as well.
Being a defensive coach, can you talk about how you've had to kind of change your mindset sometimes when evaluating quarterbacks and developing quarterbacks? And I guess in relation to Patrick, what things have you looked at where you really can see the process and where you feel like he's becoming more confident in developing?
Yeah, I think in the games, you'd love to see the quarterback sit in that pocket, go through his progressions, and distribute the football. You also like to see how he handles adversity, and he's been on point. He's been a good leader. He's made good decisions. When he's made a bad decisions, he's bounced right back. He has not let it affect him. So I think overall he's doing a very good job of handling that. Mm-hmm.
Back to your relationship with Neil, you talked about how he knows what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys didn't know each other before coming here. Has the process, the fit, been better than what you expected, or about what you expected?
Yeah, it's about what I expected. I obviously did my homework on him and how he's handled things, and we sat down and had a long talk about before we decided to work together. So yeah, it's been very good. I mean, a year ago it was what it was. I mean, I look at everything, and from a defensive point of view, I look at what he's calling and what they're doing and looking at dead plays, what I call dead plays, like don't run that, there's nothing there. And so I always watch that to make sure, but he does a great job of calling plays and setting things up. He's got great experience, so I have a lot of confidence in him. And then when it comes to managing the game, again, any good offensive coordinator sometimes, you know what I mean, they want to go, but he does a nice job of looking at the whole picture. And understanding, and of course that's when I'm on the headset and things like that, when I know, again, we may need a longer drive, we may need to get a rest, we may need to, sometimes sometimes punting's not bad, you get a couple first downs, use up some clock, punt it, change field position, so just overall, I think it's been good, and I think he does a nice job of respecting what's going on in the game and not just focusing on just one thing, so.
From a practice standpoint, have you had to bend any, or does he have to bend any?
Yeah, we both will give and take on some things, and sometimes we're a good scout team to them, and sometimes they're a good scout team to us. So that's just how it is, and it's been good, and that's what you have to do, because I like the style, or I would have never hired him. So I like the style, I like what we do, but sometimes you may need to get a little more physical and see different things, and they can do all those things. They may not just feature it from under center or different ways, but they could give us just about anything we need to see.
How do you feel about Khalid and Ryan Flanagan at that weak side linebacker?
Yeah, Khalid really played a good game this past week. I was pleased with Khalid. And he's being pushed because he has a very good player behind him. With Ryan, he's a very good athlete, very explosive. When things, in these games, when offenses are adjusting and doing different things, and maybe something we weren't able to zero in on practice, you got to apply rules, and the game's ever changing. With all the motion shifts, all the different things you see, and sometimes it's going a little fast to him right now. But he was better this last week.
Mark, you've done a good job of turning the ball over so far and taking care of the ball. Michael, obviously, is that going to be Saturday?
Pardon me? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's probably the most critical statistic to us because of where we're at. Like I said before, I think we're not good enough to win a game on any one side. We have to play well on all sides to have a chance to win. We're not dominant enough on offense or dominant enough on defense, but we put it all together, we're good enough to play with anybody. We just have to play well.